everybody, welcome to that Vinyl channel. I'm that Vinyl Guy Boss. On this video, I'm going to be doing a review showing off this record right here. This is the new Roger Waters version of Dark Side of the Moon, Dark Side of the Moon Redo. So this is the copy from Newbury Comics on red vinyl, and it was limited to 500 copies. So there are a lot of different variants out there. This is the variant that I actually chose. I actually like Newbury Comics. They put out some really good quality stuff. So I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about this album because there's a lot out there. A lot of people are talking about this album. People either hate it or love it. And I cheated. I went online and I purchased the singles off of Amazon, so I already heard it already, even though this is sealed. I do plan on playing this as well before I give you a review, because I'm going to be talking about the quality of the pressing as well. But bottom line, this is an interpretation of Dark Side of the Moon. Now let me show you something here and what I'm talking about it. So this here is also an interpretation of Dark Side of the Moon. This is the Dark Side of the Moon for chamber orchestra. This is an orchestral interpretation of the album. They pressed it on white vinyl, pretty cool, but I have that one. This one here is Return to the Dark Side of the Moon. They pressed it on glow-in-the-dark vinyl, which is very cool. This is members of hard rock bands who did their interpretation of the entire album of Dark Side of the Moon. We have Doom Side of the Moon. This is metal bands doing their interpretation of Dark Side of the Moon. And this here is another Newbury Comics, but this here is Dub Side of the Moon, pressed on this green and orange vinyl. And last but not least, we have the Great Jazz Gig in the Sky. This is a jazz interpretation of Dark Side of the Moon. Very cool album. So when these people did these albums, they did not set out to do make an album that's better than the original 1973 Dark Side of the Moon. That is a classic album. Nobody's going to make that album any better than what it is. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time. It's probably in just about everybody's collection that I'm talking to right now. Everybody knows what this album is. Even if you don't collect vinyl or CDs, if you don't collect anything, you know what Dark Side of the Moon is. Probably 6-year-olds right now probably know what Dark Side of the Moon is. So this is a classic album. Nobody is trying to make this album any better. No one's trying to replace this album. And it's the same with this album here. So I've listened to interviews with Roger Waters. This is another interpretation album, or even a tribute album to the original Dark Side of the Moon. And he can definitely do that because, you know, we all know that he was in the original Dark Side of the Moon. And so he is doing his interpretation 50 years later. It's the 50-year-old later Roger Waters trying to connect with the Roger Waters from 1973. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm not basing this that it's not Dark Side of the Moon, so I don't like it. I'm basing it on this. I'm basing it on the quality of the recording. I'm basing it on how good the music is. I'm also basing it on his previous solo albums as well. Because this is basically a Roger Waters solo album. So I went into this with an open mind. And so first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and open this up and let you all see what was on the inside of this particular pressing. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts of the actual material on the record. Okay, so real quick, just a closer look at the hype stickers on this. Okay, like I said, this is from Newbury Comics. Okay, so now I have removed the plastic off this, so now I'm gonna get a really good look at the artwork on this. I do like the artwork on this. I'm thinking about this eye. See how this eye is like looking at the Dark Side of the Moon logo there? I mean, that's some distance there. He's not looking at it very closely. And dogs represent youth, right? Dogs don't get very old. This here is probably a younger dog, and he is looking at the past, at the Dark Side of the Moon from 1973. That's, in my opinion, what this means. Now, maybe somebody out there has something different. Maybe even Roger Waters said something different. I haven't heard anything. This is based on just what me looking at this artwork is, and what the hell do I know? So, and we got it back again we have the picture of the dog, and we have all the lyrics on the back. Very cool. Let's go ahead and get this opened up and take a look at the inside. I think by now most of you have seen this, but I'm still going to show it to you as well. I do believe this is all the lyrics, right? Yeah, these are all the lyrics, so very cool. Okay, so this is the first insert. Very nice quality to this. It doesn't feel cheap. And this is the actual record. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at the actual label. Nice red color. Very awesome. And go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take the other one out as well, on the other side. It looks pretty similar. And that record, it pretty much looks the same as the other one. Pretty cool stuff. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this album and come back and talk about the quality of the pressing and my thoughts of the material that is on this record. Okay, everybody, so I'm back. I just listened to the entire album. By the way, I showed you the inside, but I'll show it to you again. But anyways, I just listened to this, the entire album again. This is my second time hearing it. The first time I heard it on Amazon Music, so and then I just heard it on this. So first thing I'm going to do is talk about the actual music itself, and then I'm talking about this pressing again, which is a Newbury Comics pressing on red vinyl. So I mean, it is just phenomenal. I think Roger Waters did an amazing job on this. I really like it a lot. I like the lyrics that he used. I like, I listened to an interview with him, and he's basically trying to pay homage to the original album, almost like he's talking to himself in 1973. So, and I think he's definitely achieved that with this album. You can hear the heartfelt messages that he's trying to convey to himself. So, and it's very enjoyable. The instruments were spot on. It was definitely an awesome, homage or tribute to the original album. Again, I'll show you the back of this. Very cool. But I really enjoyed this. I'll listen to it again here probably in a couple of days. But I really did enjoy it. So let's talk about this particular pressing with Newbury Comics. So I've come to expect that Newbury Comics generally has very good pressings. I rarely have any issues with them at all. So this is a 2 LP, 4 sides, A, B, C, D. So I will say that on the second side, the last 3 or 4 minutes of the album, the last track, there were some double ticks, tick tick, tick tick, tick tick, spurred out, but maybe about 10 of them. And this is a very soft album. There's not a lot of energy in this, which is fine. That's what he was going for. The instruments are subdued. It's concentrating on his lyrics, on his voice, which is awesome. But when you get that kind of a low volume, any kind of imperfections like that is really going to be annoying. So I'm not sure. I checked the record. It's not dirt. It's not dust. So it's definitely something going on with the pressing, either during the pressing process or maybe some imperfection with the plate that they used. I don't know. But it definitely takes away from the last 3 or 4 minutes of that track. I mean, it is what it is. Vinyl is not supposed to be perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. I understand that. I give a lot of leeway to these pressings whenever I hear these little imperfections. Usually a tiny little pop here or a tiny little tick here, is not going to really, cause me much issue with these pressings. But whenever they have something that's like 10 of them, little tick tick, tick tick, tick tick, that's definitely something a little bit more. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet about that, if I'm just going to go ahead and just accept that or get in contact with Newbury Comics and find out what I can do. I'm not really that happy with that part of the record, but the rest of it was great. I'm going to show you here side A. As you can see here, the record is flat. There's absolutely no problems with it at all as far as it being flat. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to go ahead and show you here side B. There's a little bit of wobble in the record, just a tiny bit, but still no real issue as far as it being warped or anything like that. It's no other problems with the vinyl. It sounds great. The bass response, the treble, you know, I'm not an audiophile, so I'm not going to sit here, you know, and say I am, but to me it sounded exceptionally good, but it sounded better than the Amazon streaming listening to it on my laptop, that's for sure. So overall, the album is exceptional. I really like what Roger Waters did with this. I really like his interpretation of the Dark Side of the Moon album. So, but that's it. I do want to thank everybody for joining me today. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and consider subscribing and tap on that subscribe button down below. But again, I want to thank everybody, and see you all next time.